Hello, everybody. Welcome to what I would say is my seasonal wrap up for season 14 of Destiny 2 Beyond Lights. Um, where to start? I guess we can talk about the good things first, and then the bad things after, and then this is how we'll structure it: good things, bad things, what I'm excited about for the future, what I'm not excited about for the future, and then I'll take chat questions because I'm currently streaming right now as well. Um, all right. First things first, the overview of the season. Season 14 was essentially a way for us to get another major ally to combat against Savathun, the Witch Queen, for next year, for the next expansion. Because so far that's what we've been doing. We've been gathering allies. We have Crow, or Prince Uldren from season 12. We have Keitel, the Cabal Empress from season 13, and now we have Mithrax in the House of Light from this season. Throughout this whole season, we went through working with the Elixni, or the Fallen as we used to call them, and tried to shut down the Vex network because their whole thing was the Endless Night, which gave us eternal darkness until later on until like before Solstice of Heroes happened. We ended the Endless Night by killing off Quoria, the Vex Mind, the corrupted Vex Mind, and that was that. It seemed too easy though, but I think that's just because the players of the game have just gotten better. But it is a story boss after all, so it is what it is. I'll talk about how I feel about that later. And then Osiris, throughout the story, Osiris was very suspicious. I think it's because his ghost got killed at the start of Beyond Light, aka season 12. So it's possibly something to do with that, but it also seems like he is like infected by Savathun almost. Or corrupted by Savathun, or might just be Savathun, since she is the Queen of Deception after all. So we go through, we stop the Endless Night, we celebrate our victory with Solstice of Heroes, and then the epilogue happens. What we just witnessed. For those that watch the video on the epilogue, that should be up around this time that this gets uploaded. You'll see how it ended and what happened with it. The TLDR, Osiris left the last city, which is also still very suspicious. Lakshmi is dead, and with that, the rest of the factions left. So I think that's Bungie confirming that the factions are not going to be a part of the game anymore at all. And then we may have a memorial next week, or like a memorial quest or something next week. I can see it happening. Because this is being recorded before the last week of the season, by the way. And we now have an ally with the Elixni, as in next season we may end up seeing Elixni within the tower, or even like next expansion we can see like Elixni walking around in the tower, maybe, or the last city. I mean, we already see it like in the underground portion of the tower, which well, like not underground portion, but like where the drifter is and all that. So now I can go over my overall thoughts on the story. I thought the story was pretty good. It was short through the weeks, but overall I felt it was pretty strong. It was probably, I think I would say it was better than last season, narrative wise. Although last season was pretty good because we got Keitel. She was a good villain. And we got to see growth with Crow and him coming to terms with Zavala and Zavala accepting him as a guardian. That was really good. But this season was really good because not only did we get another enemy as an ally, but they brought back Mithrax. For those that don't know, Mithrax helped us. Well, Mithrax was the Fallen that we didn't kill back on Titan. And through that, he helped us get the Outbreak perfected. And with that, he went to, I guess, Europa, and he formed the House of Light. And now he helped us, and now we're allies with them. Bungie did a really good job at keeping us mildly suspicious of Osiris. Because the whole time, as the season went on, Osiris was saying some very suspicious things, as in, like, you know, like some very things like a guardian wouldn't really say. You know, it also sounded like he was disappointed for certain things, and like he seemed very, he didn't seem like himself. It was very weird. And then if you read the lore for this season, you can see that, like, it's very evident that Savathun is within the city now. So that's why a lot of people are saying, well, a lot of people are like predicting that either the next season or with Witch Queen, they'll reveal like that Osiris might have been Savathun, or, you know, who like Savathun is within the city and all that. Which is good. It makes me excited for next season and, you know, all of next year. So I thought the story was pretty good. I think they could have went more. I'll also be wary of Osiris since he did work a lot with it. Exactly. He worked a lot with the darkness. He worked a lot with the Vex. That's why I guess he was so helpful with Lakshmi when she was setting up the Vex portal and all that. It wasn't surprising because I knew how this was going to end up being because of like what they were kind of alluding to, but it's surprising that like Osiris didn't help against the Vex. Like he in the cutscene, he walks away. Like he watches Sate 14 and Mithrax fight off the Vex. Then Zavala and Amanda Holiday come help, and Ikora comes help, and then Osiris walks away and teleports away, I guess. It's interesting to see. Bungie's building up something big, and it may start it's probably gonna start kicking off next season, and then of course everything will hit a climax in the Witch Queen. But yeah, the activities of this season were pretty good. To the lighthouse, exactly. Or see the future, yes. But like the activities for the season, like well, actually no, I'm not gonna go into that yet. To conclude my thoughts on the story, I feel like they could have went in more. I'll talk about the raids in a bit, actually. That's gonna be next. I feel like they could have went in more with the final boss of this season, Quoria. I feel like they could have made her harder, like make it like a dungeon almost. But I can understand why they, since it is a story boss, I can understand why it was easier than we thought. But like, you know, it was fine for what it was. So yeah. Overall, I thought the story was pretty good. So far, Bungie has been knocking it out of the park with story ever since season 13. So I'm expecting even better story next season. And Witch Queen better be a banger. Okay, now we can talk about activities and the raid itself. So the override activities and the expunge missions, I thought they were really cool. Uh, exactly. They have a lot more time to work on story. It's good, which is always nice. Although a lot of things suffered in the process, but I'll talk about that or what I didn't like about this season. Um, so override, expunge, and the raid. Override was a fun little 6-man activity. Um, repetitive, of course, but it was fun nonetheless. I personally enjoyed jumping into the Vex network and killing the boss. That was a lot of fun. I liked like it fit in with the theme of the season. That's all like retro and like what is it? Like retro and like void wave synth and all that. It was pretty cool. I really enjoyed that. I loved the whole like feel of the season because of that. Expunge missions were really cool because we get to explore more of the Vex network. Although it's kind of like a linear path anyway, we still got to see like the vastness of the Vex network. And then when they started to get corrupted, I thought that was pretty cool too. That part was a lot of fun. And then the raid, Vault of Glass. Oh, even though the changes were there, I felt very nostalgic. Very nostalgic. Seeing the raid in updated graphics was so nice. Yeah. Playing Vault of Glass again. Beating Atheon again. Templar. Going through the Gorgon maze. Solving the puzzles. Getting the secret chests. Hearing oracles again. That was really fun. Really fun. I'm also glad we finally cleared it. It took my group quite a while actually. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I like what they did with the raid to like update it and everything. With like adding some special stuff you have to do and like the challenges and all that, and even adding like a master Vault of Glass. My group didn't attempt that, but maybe we'll attempt it one day. But it was a lot of fun. I'm glad that they brought back Vault of Glass. I'm glad they did it justice, and I can't wait to see them do that with other old raids. Even old Destiny 2 raids. I want to see them bring back some other ones. But I can see them bringing back Crota's End and King's Fall and Witch Queen, because they could easily. Yeah, exactly. I hope not too frequent either. I hope it's like spread out, like it was. But for Crota's End, I can see them bringing it back as a dungeon because it was so short. You know what I mean? But if they bring back Crota's End, that'd be cool. If they bring back King's Fall, that'd be amazing, because King's Fall was really good, and it's what brought people back to Destiny 1. Well, the Taken King, the whole expansion itself brought back a lot of people. But I can see them releasing Crota's End as a dungeon and then King's Fall as a raid. Like later in the year for Witch Queen. Yeah, Oryx. Oryx was a lot of fun. It was a lengthy fight, and you couldn't like do anything to skip it, but it was a cool, very cool fight. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, it was nice to see a reprised raid. I can see them doing more, but I just don't want it to be the main focus. I want it to like come later in the year, like maybe like the third or even last season of that year. That'd be nice. So yeah, that'd be cool. But yeah, overall, Vault of Glass, very solid, very good. I'm glad they did what they did. I'm glad they did it justice. We'll talk about the ritual weapon. the Null Composure. Very good gun. I'm glad that the quest itself wasn't like too gruesome. But next season they're adding it to like the seasonal track thing. It's basically a loaded question but void because it has Reservoir Burst. That's basically what it was. It was loaded question but void. So yeah, it was cool because loaded question was pretty sick. So I was fine with it. But yeah, they're adding it to the seasonal tracks. Seasonal track. Not for the season pass, but like the vendors now. Well, Zavala, Shax, and the Drifter. Yeah, it's a fusion rifle. It'll be the next ritual weapon will be part of their like seasonal reward thing, I guess. So I guess we'll be able to pick it up that way for whatever the next weapon is. So yeah, looking forward to that. Well that's the seasonal exotic. You get the seasonal exotic from the season pass itself. So no, it's not like that. So that's what I liked about the season. I liked that the story was really good. I liked that the activities felt fun. And I'm glad that even until the very end of the season, the activity was still fun. And I also like the lore, of course. I'm a huge fan of the lore. And I'm glad, and I liked the raid they brought back. Can't wait to see them do more. Now, the things I didn't like. Oh yes, the whole slurp. But the things I didn't like. I don't know how big the list of things I didn't like is going to be, but there is a decent amount that I didn't like. Right off the bat, I didn't like the fact that throughout, and this is kind of like talking about Beyond Light as a whole, I didn't like that there wasn't a lot of focus on the core playlists. Like, Vanguard strikes are still boring. You still have the same strikes. Nothing new was added other than Glassway from season 12. I'm glad we got Hungary though. And, you know, Uzume and Plug One. But, like, Vanguard strikes are still boring. Nightfalls are fine, I guess, because Grandmaster. But Crucible's still bare bones. I mean, they talked about what they plan on doing with Crucible. But, it sucks. Trials of Osiris isn't fun. Iron Banner is a stomp fest. I know things are going to be changing in Season 15 in Witch Queen, but it's just like, I don't know if that'll be enough. They plan to, like, slowly bring us back, like, old Destiny 2 maps and, like, some Destiny 1 maps. And then I think, like, a new map as well. Yeah, for Crucible. So they're bringing us back maps. Old Destiny 2 maps, old Destiny 1 maps. And then, like, a new map, I guess, at the start of Season 18. Well, no, at the start of Witch Queen, I think. Not 18. Start of Witch Queen. And they already talked about the ability changes. and like buffing the light subclasses and, you know, nerfing sliding. They're essentially trying to slow down the game because it's way too speedy and fast. Sometimes it's very hard to keep up with. Although other people will argue that, you know, that movement and sliding is skill gap and all that extra. It's just like, you just like being overpowered, which is fine, which is great and everything, but like, it's not a skill gap. You're just able to get in and out of a lane real fast. Exactly, mobility 100. But yeah, I'm indifferent. PvP doesn't excite me anymore. I hope whatever they do, sidestep everything exactly. I hope whatever they do and however it's implemented, will make PvP exciting for me. Because PvP stopped being exciting for me since Shadowkeep. I won't go too much into detail, because me and my friend, we've talked en masse about it over many streams and videos. So if you want to go watch those, I have a backlog on YouTube for everything. Matchmaking this season was probably the worst, connection-wise. At least there wasn't as much cheaters. At least I didn't feel like it. Feel like there was a lot of cheaters this time around. But cheating is still going on, of course. But then again, in any free-to-play online game, there's always cheaters. So Bungie's just gonna have an endless battle, and it's gonna suck. Matchmaking still bad. Spawn camping and shooting is terrible. Gambit has not been touched. Gambit is dull. Hopefully they bring stuff and improvements to Gambit. I think they said that like they were going to take a look at Gambit and like improve on it or whatever, or add stuff to it, which would be nice. Exactly. Oh yeah, Gambit. Like we all forgot about it. Like that's a thing still. Yeah, it's still a thing. Exactly. Exactly. And even now, like you do Gambit to get your weekly reward and then go home. It's still exactly. It's still a thing. I hope they improve Gambit more because it's a cool mode and concept. It's just there's no other reason to play it. I mean, sure, we had the bottom dollar, which was a 120 hand cannon, and the 120s got nerfed because they were way too strong, and now 140s are good. But exactly, it's a cool concept, but it's not really appealing enough. You know, like I want them to make it appealing. But I also don't want it to be like the only core playlist that gets an update. And then everybody plays Gambit and no one plays Crucible anymore. Or does Strikes. Even though we have to, right? Well, quote unquote have to. You don't have to, but you know. So the core playlists need to get some love. Ew, a bot. Want to become famous? My followers. Get out of here, homie. Imagine being a bot. That's crazy. Oh yeah, he gone. Bonked him. But so yeah, overall I think the core playlists need to be given a hard look. They need to be improved. I'm glad they're starting to do stuff with PvP now. I guess because they did I guess they finally finished all the story stuff they wanted to do. And they made all the stuff for Season 15 already, so they're touching on the core playlist now, hopefully. I really hope so. Because after you do the story stuff, after you raid, that's the rest of the game. You play PvP, You do strikes, nightfalls, gambit, and then patrol. Exactly. I agree. Everybody was thinking it was going to be this season, but for those watching on YouTube and that can't see the chat, someone in chat said there should be a season where they rework the game modes like Strikes and Crucible. And I completely agree. Everybody thought this was going to be this season, but it turns out it wasn't. They improved Strikes at least. Well, they didn't really improve Strikes. They worked on like Nightfalls. They made them more. They gave them more of an incentive to do because of the weapons. The weapons are nice. The adept weapons are cool too. But we need a season. Hopefully, it's next season where they just improve on the core playlist, the core game modes, while also adding a really good story, because it better be good leading up to Witch Queen. I will always make sure that I say that, because it has to be good. If there's no hype built for the next expansion, it's gonna suck. After all the story content, and then someone else in chat said that after all the story content, it's just the slow, repeatable content like Nightfalls and Strikes. Crucible is the most entertaining for me after the story. And yes, we do have high hopes for Witch Queen. But yeah, it's exactly as he said. Like, it's the core playlist. They're the core part of the game. After you do the story, after you raid, it's like, okay, well, what do I do now? Because nothing else is appealing. Even PvP used to be appealing, but now it's just not fun to play. And for a lot of people, PvP was like the main thing they did after they got raid weapons, or after they got weapons from Strikes or the story or whatever. You go test it out in PvP. You go wreck people with your new roles. And if PvP is not fun, it's just like, okay, what am I getting this stuff for? You know? I mean, sure, to maybe like improve like your damage or whatever in like Strikes or in raid content. But other than that, it's just like, what am I getting these roles for if they're not going to be good anywhere else? If there's no reason to use them anywhere else, you know? Yeah, that was me too. That's what I did back in Destiny 1 at least. Get a Fatebringer, alright, time to use it in Crucible. Get an Atheon's Epilogue, time to use it in Crucible. But yeah. Hopefully they follow up with their word and actually improve the core playlist. Because if not, even if the story is really good for Witch Queen, even if the raid is really good for Witch Queen, the game's not going to last that long. I'm sure people are going to play, but I think people are just tired. I think people are going to fill out the rest of the season, go farm with the hand cannons, the best rolls, and get shoulder charged by... Exactly that. But yeah, like, if things don't get better with the core part of the game, the story and the raids and dungeons will only hold people for so long. Because people are tired. They're tired of the same old stuff. Like, sure, they add new stuff, new weapons, new story content, new backgrounds, new sceneries, but it's the same Strikes, the same maps for Crucible, same game modes we've been having for years now, and same maps for Gambit. Even before taking away Crucible maps and Strikes and Gambit maps, it was still the same stuff. It's just we had more of it. It was just more same stuff. We need some new stuff in the core parts of the game. Because if there's no innovation or new stuff in the core parts of the game, people may just leave after whatever big happens in Witch Queen. Someone in chat said that yeah, it's going to be similar to MMORPGs, that people just buy the subscription to play the new content and never play until the next expansion comes. That's exactly it. But that's how I am with Final Fantasy XIV. I play it, for those that don't know, I do stream 14 sometimes, and I do have some videos on it. That's what I do though. I pay the subscription and the expansion, do the whole story, do all of the story's content, do all the raids when they come out. But then in between, like, drops of content, I'm not playing. But I feel like I have to play because I have to get my money's worth. But if there's nothing to do when my subscription expires, or if I don't have a reason to renew it, I'm not going to renew it. And it's the same thing with Destiny, except at least with Final Fantasy XIV, there is stuff to do and grind for, and it's well, I don't know if it's super fun to do, because it is a grind, but the content in 14 is pretty fun overall. But it's the same thing, and it's gonna be that same way for Destiny, which it kind of started to be for me like halfway through the season, where I would get on. It wouldn't even be enough to make a stream out of. I get on, record the weekly reset, record the story content that happens that week, and then get off. And then do some of the stuff to raise my level to the pinnacle cap, since, you know, they started doing, you know, every season it'll only go up 10 levels instead of, like, you know, the 20 or whatever that it did, or the 50 that it did when an expansion dropped. So that was nice. But I have no incentive to play after I get all my weeklies done, after I get the story done. Because what am I going to sit and do? From the same strikes we've had since Forsaken? You know? Like, and then the one strike we got from Shadowkeep. The two we got this season. I mean, not this season, but the two we got this year with Glassway, and I completely forgot about the one we got from last season. But it was cool though, I will say. So we only got two new strikes. It's, you know, it's not great. It's very dull still, because everything else is still the same. But yeah, to wrap that part up for the core playlist, I really hope that they improve on this stuff and give it some freshness, because there's no freshness. Weapons can only go so far when the grind is mundane. You get the one drop finally from the Nightfall or whatever, and then you stop playing Nightfalls. Or you stop doing strikes, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Exactly, give it some spice. Exactly. So yeah, that's how I feel about the core playlist. Need some work. Next, I'll talk about what I didn't like in Vault of Glass. There were some, like, overall, the raid itself was good. What I didn't like was some stuff didn't change, if that makes sense. Like, the first encounter, not opening the door, because that didn't change at all. But Oracle encounter changed. The conflicts part changed. But Templar didn't change at all. If anything, it felt easy. Felt easier. Gorgon Maze was improved on, which was nice. the gatekeeper part was changed and Atheon was changed. And I like all the changes done. It's just, I wish they would have done more with Templar. But, yeah. I haven't done Master, so I can't really speak on that. I heard it was hard, and the changes made to it were cool. And the time-lapse weapons are great. So, that's cool. That can stay. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Things that needed change, but didn't. In my opinion, at least. So yeah, not much really to talk about that. I just wish they would have done more with Templar. Because Templar didn't get a change at all. So yeah, hopefully the raids feel fresh in the future. Hopefully reprised ones. Yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. Next part I wanted to talk about, I guess, is the story. Which is odd because I talked highly of the story, right? I talked about it and how good it was. But I still had my gripes with it. I didn't like that it felt short every week. I wanted there to be more per week. I wanted there to be more of it during the week. Like, I don't want it to just be a one and done thing per week and then, oh, I guess I gotta wait until next Tuesday. I want to do more. It's like, I understand why they did it this way, so it gives us a reason to log in every week. But it's the top of the week for a majority of the players. It's you know, Tuesday morning, you get up, you do the story, and then you get off. And then later in the week, you grind levels, do a raid maybe, and then get off. But I wanted there to be more of the story during the week. That's what I also don't really like about seasons in general, at least right now, is that you do the seasonal content at the top of the week, and then that's it. I want to do more of the seasonal stuff and experience more of the story throughout the week. I want to see, unlike a lot of people and a lot of my friends, I want a reason to play more Destiny. Right now, there is no other reason to play more Destiny. There's a reason to play Destiny, but there's not a reason to keep me playing throughout the week, is my thing. And then the way the story ended, I'm not talking about the epilogue. I talk about the epilogue for a separate thing. But the way the main story ended, with us just killing Quria and that was it, was a little lackluster. I was a little disappointed with the fight itself. Because the fight itself was cool. The design of the boss was cool. I didn't expect to kill her so quickly though. I thought it'd be like, oh, you thought you killed me, but you didn't. I mean, that may be the case. Next season, we may see her again. And I'll go more in depth about why I think that later on. But the boss fight was a little lackluster. That's what I don't like about story bosses. Because I feel like some of the coolest story exactly like a phase 2, but there was no phase 2. The phase 2 was taking down was the last part of her shield. And even that was just the same thing we've been doing the whole fight. Like, it's boring. Exactly. Like, sure, it was cool. The shock value was cool. But that was it. Just shock value and aesthetic. Like, I don't know. I understand there's story bosses, but I want it to be like, I want the story boss to be cool enough to be repeatable. You know, kind of like what well, there's this mobile game I'm playing right now called Punishing Gray Raven, where you can fight these story bosses, at least in the Chinese version, because they're further ahead and I played the Chinese version. You can fight these story bosses and then you can fight them again in like a different like playlist or whatever, and they're harder. You can get like, you know, whatever materials you need for your characters. And it's the same thing for Genshin Impact. You know, you fight these story bosses or whatever sometimes, and then you can fight them again like Child or whatever, and they're harder. You know? But with this, it's like, if they brought back Quarrior as a boss, well, actually, no. You can still fight her again. But nothing changes about her. She's not harder. It's the same story fight. There's no harder version. Nothing that improves the fight. And it's just like, I want them to be better. I want them to be tougher. I don't want them to be impossible. But like, I want a version separate from the story version of the fight. Like Panoptes from Curse of Osiris back in year 1 of Destiny 2. It was a cool boss design. It was a cool fight. But it wasn't hard. There was no harder version. It was just the story boss, and you couldn't even fight him again. And then with Zol, don't even get me started with the Zol fight. The Zol fight was the easiest thing for fighting a worm god. But we're not talking about that right now. That was just an example. Overall, story boss fights, cool in design, cool on paper, but that's all they are. If I have the option, literally, Oryx was harder than that. Like, man, not, but, Crota was harder than that, okay? Oh. But yeah, I want story bosses to have another option. If they're going to be repeatable, I want them to have a harder option with better rewards, with actual rewards. I don't want, you know, a flawless solo to be the harder version because you're not doing it with 2 other people. I fought the story boss by myself the first time. Cleared it by myself. Exactly. Like, if they're going to make a harder version, improve on the fight, make it cooler, don't just make it more health and make it hit harder. Like, that's not it. Give it more mechanics. Give it like raid-like mechanics, kind of like the dungeons are. See, like, it doesn't have to be a whole raid. It doesn't have to be a whole dungeon. But I want the harder version of these boss fights to be improved. Like a Redux version, you know? Like, give it mechanics. Exactly. But, since you're not reading chat, YouTube viewers, he said that like the first boss, like the first version of the boss, like the story boss itself, it's like dipping your toes in the water, and then you got the harder version, which is similar, but then it has more mechanics. It has like a phase 2 maybe, kind of like how Final Fantasy does. Well, how Final Fantasy 14 does with like the raid bosses, where you got the normal version. It doesn't have like, you know, it still has raid mechanics and everything, but then you got the Savage version, which is like the hard version or the master version for Destiny 2. And it has like an extra phase. It has an extra version of the boss fight that has more mechanics and crazier mechanics. And stuff like that. I want something similar to that. It doesn't have to be a whole new boss fight, but like a phase 2 or a phase transition, and there's more mechanics to it, or improved version of, like, you know, the mechanics that we're dealing with already. Stuff like that. I just want story bosses to be cooler. Or I want there to be more to the story bosses than just the same thing we've been doing the whole time during that boss fight. That makes sense. And then the activity itself, Override. It was cool, but very repetitive. Like, week by week, if they're gonna be adding, you know, new variations to the seasonal activity, I want there to be more to it than just what we did the first week. Sure, like, the boss changed, the location changed, but to get to the boss was the same the whole time. Boring. Cool, but boring. Like, we did the last one, the epilogue one in the last city. Why was it the same thing? They couldn't have done something different with it? We still had to kill Vex, which was fine because it fed in with the story. We still had to pick up motes. We still had to deposit them. We still jump down into the Vex portal. We go through the Vex gate. And we kill a boss we've already had from the season. It wasn't even a different boss. It wasn't a different Vex mind. It was just another rotated boss that we've had from the season. That's the part I didn't like. The activity itself, interesting concept, but once again, just like the core playlist, there was no innovation. Like, if you want this stuff to be repeatable, Bungie, give us another reason other than for gearing up. Make the activity, give the activity some spice. Especially for the last one in the season, and there's nothing changed about it other than the scenery. And the only incentive to do it, if you're already, like, max level, you have all the stuff you want already. If the only incentive to do it is to do it once for the story, that's not good. Like, and I guarantee we're not even gonna get a secret exotic this season. Or something secret this season. We have this epilogue, which was cool for the story. But then the last city override. Same crap we've been doing. Except it's in the Bozja district. Great. And for those that don't know, the Bozja district was from the end of Scourge of the Past. So even that's not really new. For those that have been playing Destiny 2 for its whole lifespan. Like, come on. Get innovative. Get creative. I'm glad you guys are improved on the story. That's great. Keep the innovation in the story. Don't change that. But what about the gameplay? Improving the gameplay now, please. Use this next season and all of Witch Queen to be, okay, now we're going to invest into the gameplay of the game. It's just the same crap. It's the same thing with last season and the season before. With the Season of the Hunt and Season of the Chosen. We do the seasonal activity. We get a different environment when we do the activity, but the core structure of the activity and the bosses are the same. They're the same. And even the final one, although the final one for Season of the Hunt was pretty cool. I will say. I will give them that. It was a little bit different. But for Season of the Chosen, it was the same. Except the end of Season of the Chosen, it was just a strike, which was cool, I guess. But for this season, the last one was the same that we've been doing all season. I hope next season's activity has more to it than just depositing something, killing enemies with 6 other people, depositing something, going in something, and then killing a boss. And it's probably going to be on a 3-week cycle. Yeah, I mean, fair. That's fair. I'm glad that they're not reusing a whole bunch of old content. Yeah, hopefully they improve. Because I now have no doubt in Bungie's storytelling ability. Because the story is really good. The story, they knocked it out of the park. Last season, this season, insane. Insane setup for Witch Queen as well. That's why I hope Witch Queen really holds, at least story-wise. Next season I know is going to be amazing because, okay, so for those that are new, I've always said in my seasonal wrap-ups, and what I said at the end of last year, I mean, not end of last year. Well, actually, yes, the end of last year, because it was leading into Beyond Light. And I'll say it again, and I'll say it every time until things change. I'm going to say it for the end of next season as well, leading up to Witch Queen. They know how to start off years, and they know how to end years very well. But they struggle with seasons. The beginning season of a year is always good because it's backed by the start of the expansion. The beginning of the year is always good because it's the expansion. And the end of the year and the last season of that year is always going to be good because it's supposed to hype up the next expansion and the next year of content. But the middle parts always suffer. The good part is this year's middle content, like season 13 and 14, it was good overall. Sure, I had my gripes because none of the core parts of the game improved, but the story was good and they held up. So that was good. Unlike last year for Shadowkeep. But it was good. The story was good. They knocked it out of the park. They had it down exactly like you said. So at least with this year, they've changed the mold, which is nice. But they always know how to start a season. They always know how to end a season. I mean, not start a season, end a season. But they always know how to start a year and end a year. So I have no doubt next season is going to be amazing. I know it's going to be good because it has to be. But it kind of leads into how I feel about Destiny as a whole. Where Destiny now struggles with the problem of sustainability. Because they have the power to bring people back with, the start of a year and the end of a year, but they can't keep players. And the reason is because, once again, the core content of the game suffers. It's suffering, it's dull, it's bare bones now. And I'm sure they know that. I have no doubt that they know that. And I'm glad that they're touching on it now. At least they're going to try to. But Just like me and chat said, they exactly. Someone said, yeah, they can bring people back, but not people to stay. It's repetitive and tedious. And I understand all MMOs are like that. Games like this are like that. But at least there's incentive to do those things in those MMORPGs. Like World of Warcraft, which is a yikes subject now. But mainly Final Fantasy XIV, which is the perfect example. Sure, it's repetitive and it can be tedious, but there's incentive. And depending on who you ask, it's a lot of fun. There's stuff to do and reason to do it. There's a lot of things to do in Destiny, but there's not much reason to do it. And reason can be anywhere, anything from like grinding gear. Exactly. That's why people say a lot of MMOs in game is fashion, because like after you do all the things, you just want to look good and have fun with your character and enjoy your character. And what I was saying about Destiny is like there's a lot to do, but there's no reason to do it other than the one time or to get the one thing. There's no reason to keep doing it after you get the one thing you wanted. Strikes aren't fun, so there's no reason to repeat them week over week other than to get your weekly reward or the nightfall drop you wanted for that week. There's no reason to continue to grind PvP because it's dull. Other than the weekly reward or the Iron Banner gear or the Trials of Osiris gear from that weekend. That's it. And if you're a content creator, you're probably just testing out builds for a video. You're not playing it just to play it. I mean, right now, I'm just sitting in orbit. And if it wasn't for making the seasonal wrap-up, I would be playing something else right now. Maybe Fantasies, PSO2 NGS. Maybe. I might be just watching YouTube right now. Like, I want Destiny to make me want to play. Because before, I wouldn't mind just playing Strikes. Or just playing PvP. Or heck, even just playing Gambit. Running around in patrols. But even now, that is boring. People nowadays just have an abundance of materials. I mean, well, now they remove the max level cap. You can level weapons and stuff like that indefinitely now. Like, they removed sunsetting. But yeah. You have a point, though. Oh, yeah, they did. They removed sunsetting. Yeah. But yeah, there's still no incentive to do these, to play these playlists, though. Unless you're new and you genuinely enjoy the maps that you've never played before, or the strikes you've never done before. But after you do them for years, like most of the players, like a majority of the player base that hasn't left yet, it's like we almost don't even want to play. We get on for the new stuff. After we're done with the new stuff, we get off. It's sad. It's saddening. Yeah. That's pretty much all I have to say about what I didn't like. Now, we talk about the future. This segment isn't going to be very long because, of course, we don't know what's going to be happening until the 24th. And we're going to have a long talk about what happens during the reveal of Witch Queen and all that in Season 15. Of course, but there, for the future, after Beyond Light happened, I'm less hopeful than I was overall for the sustainability of the game and the future of the game itself. Because you can't keep a game going based off of story alone. Mainly because this is a live service game. This was a single player game like Halo or something. Of course the story is going to sustain itself because that's what the game is built off of. But this game is not Halo. It's Destiny, where the game is more than just a story game. There's stuff to do outside of the story. The game makes you want to continue playing, but then there's no reason to do it. And I am a little less hopeful, but I'm still excited for a whole lot of stuff. Yeah, you don't really repeat the story if you already... Exactly. You already know the story, yeah. It's... I look forward to, of course, the new story that's coming. Because I know it's going to be amazing. It built up all this hype and everything for Witch Queen and Savathûn. I know it's going to be sick. I'm super excited for it. Yes, I've seen some of the leaks. Of course, I hold everything with a grain of salt. But I'm really excited for a whole bunch of stuff. A whole bunch of stuff. And I hope some of the leak is true, because that hypes me up even more. But yeah, I hope the contents within the expansion is really fun too. I hope the new environments and stuff like that we get is exciting as well. Exactly. Someone said that I'm excited for the changes that will come and to see how well it fares. Yes, 100%. I can't wait to see how new things are implemented. I can't wait to see the new Darkness subclass that we're probably going to be getting. I can't wait to see the improvements to the light subclasses, or even more improvements to the light subclasses. Apart from the season 15 changes, I'm excited. Personally, I'm excited. I'm also hopeful in the fact that hopefully they improve on the core playlist. But what I'm not hopeful in is seeing how that carries over season. I'm not hopeful in innovation, even though I am... Well, hopeful is not the word. I guess I'm not excited for repetitive activities. But like I've always said, I hope they prove me wrong. I hope they exceed my expectations. Because right now I'm not really impressed with the activities. But yeah, I'm looking forward to. Yeah, there you go. Looking forward to is the phrase. It's because right now I'm not really impressed with activities. Not really looking forward to the next seasonal activity for next season. But I hope that changes. I hope they change my perspective. I look forward to them proving me wrong. And so far they have. Story-wise, they like we've been harping up. Me and Chad have been harping up. We agree that they've knocked the seasonal stories out of the park. The story as a whole is amazing right now. But like we said, and it sounds like we're a broken record for this, but it's the main issue I have with this year is the core playlist, the core game structure. It's not sustainable. But I hope they prove me wrong. I hope they're like, hey, player base, guess what? Boom, we've improved the core game. Now you're going to want to play Destiny all the time again. You're going to want to get on every day, even though after you've done your weekly stuff and your daily stuff. You're going to want to jump into playlists. Yeah, we heard you. Literally. We actually heard you, and we've actually done some stuff. Boom, there you go. Enjoy. This is the Destiny 2 we wanted to make. So far, I've only seen that for the story. And I hope that changes. I hope it changes, but I'm expecting it not to. Exactly. It'll bring a lot of people back to Destiny 2. It'll change a lot of people's feelings and minds. Because I guarantee you, if nothing improves, people are going to go to Halo Infinite. Because the multiplayer is going to be free. And I heard it was a lot of fun. It looked a lot of fun. Even though they were just fighting against bots, but still. Like... yeah, it's... like I said, I hope they prove me wrong. I hope it brings people back and keeps the people they brought back. Because now we've seen we've seen what they can do to bring people back. But we've also seen what they can do to push people away. And stasis is a main thing like that. Exactly. Innovation keeps you ahead of the game. And right now there's no innovation. Halo Infinite has a lot of innovation. And that's just in the core gameplay. The core gameplay of multiplayer alone. They've added new things to the core gameplay. I'm definitely looking forward to the story though. The story's gonna be good. And if it's the same crap gameplay wise, I may just once again only get on to do the story content and then get off. I may not even stream Destiny 2 anymore. I may just make videos on it and that's it. Heck, just make a video of us doing the raid. Because at this point, I don't even stream Destiny 2. I stream me and my clan doing the raid, maybe. Sometimes it's just a video. Bottom line, Bungie, I really hope you prove me wrong. I really hope you shock me. You impress me. Because right now I'm not that. I used to be really hyped for your game. I used to defend you and your game, Bungie. I can't do that anymore. I won't let people talk crap about your story though. Story and lore is amazing. I will always say that. Can't defend the rest of the game anymore though. I can defend design and scenery. Because the game is beautiful. The weapons look cool. Can't defend the rest of the game though. And that's saying a lot. For those that have known me and my content, you guys know how much I love Destiny. Love Destiny 2. Now I just love the story. Which I always have. That's not changing. I don't love the game itself. Not anymore. Hopefully that changes. So yeah, overall thoughts. season was really good. Yeah. Same. I played D1 since the alpha, actually. I've been a fan ever since. Now, unfortunately, that's changing, and I hope it doesn't continue down that path. So yeah, overall, to wrap things up, this season was overall pretty good. Sure, it has its ups and downs, but overall, I thought it was completely sound, really good, really solid as a season. I look forward to next season. Look forward to see what is going to happen next season. And I hope that the content next season is worth repeating and doing week over week and fun to do. With that being said, this is also the end of the stream as well. Thank you all so much for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe for those on YouTube. Follow me on Twitch and Twitter if you haven't already. For Twitch, so you can see when I'm going live. I also do a lot more things now, like Final Fantasy 14, and a whole bunch of other games and stuff like that. Alright, see you later, chat. So yeah, thank you all very much, and I will see you wonderful people tomorrow with Valorant. Maybe some PSO2. Alright. Goodbye. Bye, chat. Bye, YouTube.